Let's cross to Croatia, which is fast becoming one of the most expensive destinations for tourists. Since joining the Schengen area and in the Eurozone in January, the country has enjoyed a record tourist season. By the start of August, it had more than 11.5 million arrivals, which is 10% more than the same period last year. Croatia's tourism minister says the arrivals are nearing the record-breaking levels of 2019. But while some officials expect this positive trend to continue for the rest of the year, many aren't quite optimistic due to rising prices in the Balkan country. International media reports on the sudden price hikes across the stunning Adriatic coast have already convinced many travelers to cancel the reservations. Veyko Skenderija went to Zagreb to see if this fear is justified.
Apart from the COVID-19 period, Croatia has always bustled with tourists at this time of the year. And according to tourism officials, this season will be something new altogether. It's after Croatia joined the European Union's Schengen zone in January, which has boosted the numbers of visitors to its picturesque Adriatic coast.
U dosadašnjem tijeku turističke godine zapravo, ja bih rekao, odličan s obzirom na brojke koje ostvarujemo. Dakle, imamo kontinuirani rast turističkih dolazaka i noćenja, nekih 10% u dolascima i 4 do 5% u noćenjima u odnosu na prošlu godinu. Na razini smo rezultata 2019. godine.
And that pre-pandemic 2019 remains a record year in terms of visitors. But as for tourism revenues, the sector raked in a record of over 14 billion in 2022, and Staničić says he expects it be even higher this year.
Za sad smo tu negdje u korak sa 2019. godinom. Ukoliko bude dobra posezona, ja očekujem da ćemo je i premašiti. I naravno, to je što se tiče fizičkih pokazatelja, dolasci i noćenja. Što se tiče financijskih pokazatelja, vjerujem da ćemo nadmašiti sve dosadašnje godine.
But if one scratches below the surface, not everything is so great. Right now, tourist attendances are the subject of intense public debate. Some consider the season to be extremely satisfactory, while others say it's a failure.
And while Croatian officials say the tourist season is progressing quite well and even on track to break the 2019 record, there is great danger that the clear hike in prices may come back to bite. Word is spreading throughout Europe that Croatia is slowly but surely becoming one of the most expensive countries for tourists.
Both the Austrian and German media have already reported on strong increase in prices on the Croatian coast. Tales such as one scoop of ice cream costing 5 euros in Dubrovnik or 22 euro hamburgers in Rovinj have forced many tourists to rethink and cancel reservations and government officials to worry.
Cijene pojedinih proizvoda, pa između ostaloga i kuglica sladoleda koju navodite, ja ne znam da je tolika cijena, je nešto što zabrinjava i što može ozbiljno ugroziti i turističku sezonu i općenito gospodarstvo.
So we asked foreign tourists if Croatia really is expensive.
It was not before, but I think it increased since the last 3 years.
It's similar like Holland. I think the prices are all the same, so it's okay for us.
In terms of it being expensive, our Australian dollar doesn't go too well against the euro, so we get about 60 cents to every dollar. So it can be a little bit expensive at sometimes, but just choosing wisely, you can get it, eat for very cheap.
Today's tourist does exactly that, researches and chooses carefully. And that's why quality is the key. Those who try to make a quick buck are often eliminated by the market itself. However, Croatia has another systemic, strategic problem.
Mi sad polako kao nekakva destinacija dolazimo u svojevrsnu rupu, zato što mi smo u jednom dobrom dijelu segmenta našeg smještaja bili orijentirani prema malo socijalno ugroženim skupinama Srednje Europe i Istočne Europe koja nam ovdje dolazi. I sada smo za njih postali preskupi, a masa te naše robe nije dovoljno kvalitetna za ovu neku višu kategoriju gostiju. I sad smo tu dio tog našeg smještaja i dio naše ponude se našao u tom nekom rascijepu.
And that's part of the reason why apartments here are staring empty. Since last year, Croatia has added 60,000 new beds in this middle type of accommodation and as much as 300,000 compared to 2017. That is enough to fit almost two populations of Split, the second largest city in Croatia.
Ja mislim da fizički promet više po ljeti zapravo Hrvatska ne treba povećavati, treba povećavati financijski učinak, ali što se i vidi kroz rezultate mnogih istraživanja da zapravo udio gostiju većih platišnih mogućnosti u Hrvatskoj sve veći. Što znači da na kraju stvarno mi možda i sa malo manjim fizičkim učinkom možemo doći do značajnih financijskih rezultata.
Mi smo država premala, sa premalom obalom, da bi se na nekakvoj, da tako kažemo, ekonomiji obujma u turizmu mogli natjecati, ne znam, sa Turskom, sa Marokom, sa Španjolskom. Dakle, nama zapravo strateški preostaje jedino biti destinacija nešto veće kvalitete kako bismo uopće opstali.
Analysts say Croatia simply does not have the infrastructure to offer such a growth in accommodation anymore. This is precisely why the law on tourism is coming next year, which will ban new constructions unless there is a capacity for tourism. The plan is to make tourism more sustainable.
Mislim da Hrvatska treba težiti da bude visoko kvalitetna destinacija. Da imamo kvalitetnu uslugu, da imamo kvalitetnu ponudu za svakoga, da si svatko može naći adekvatnu ponudu i uslugu i da mislim da to svima nama treba biti cilj, kvaliteta ispred svega.
But it's a challenging task because the market is simply saturated and some of the new facilities do not even follow existing regulations. It could also signal a major problem for the treasury if tourists look for new, cheaper destinations with better quality. And that would deal a major blow as tourism makes up about 20% of Croatia's GDP, which is not something to brag about.
Veći udio u društvenom bruto proizvodu, to je naravno posljedica slabosti gospodarstva cjelokupnog, a ne toliko jačine samog turizma. Da, generalno bi za Hrvatsku bilo bolje da i dalje jača turizam, ali da je udio turizma manji.
Back on the mainland, the capital of Croatia has recorded a double-digit growth. Since January, Zagreb has had 25% more arrivals and 17% more overnight stays compared to last year.
Zagreb is also teeming with tourists. The capital, which was once almost exclusively a transit location to and from the seaside, is now becoming a popular destination. According to research by the VisaGuide.world portal, it has now risen to third spot as the best European capital for tourists, right behind Amsterdam and Rome.
And they are mostly young tourists visiting Zagreb. In the most awarded hostel in Croatia, Swanky Mint, they tell us that the capacities are full and that visitors in the cheaper than seaside Zagreb have no complaints about the prices.
Što se tiče turista, nemamo toliko negativnih komentara vezano za poskupljenja, jer vjerujem da su ljudi svjesni da se ona ne događaju samo kod nas, nego generalno u cijelom svijetu. Tu prednjače Amerikanci, Njemci, Italijani. Vratili su nam se gosti iz Australije, primjerice, ali ne možemo definitivno zanemariti niti naše domaće goste koje uvijek rado ugostimo.
And if the price hikes continue, those local guests, who have some of the lowest wage standards in the EU, may no longer be able to afford the Croatian Adriatic. The state, on the other hand, may need to diversify the content on offer and also curb prices the galloping apartments if Croatia is to remain a hotspot for foreign visitors. Veyko Skenderija, TRT World, Zagreb, Croatia.
Let's bring in Boris Gomba from Pula. He is the president of the Association of Travel Agencies at the Croatian Chamber of Commerce. Thank you very much for joining us today. So when we talk about inflation, we shouldn't forget that all of that has a huge impact on the prices in the tourism sector as well. For instance, some recent stats show an overall increase of approximately 77% in prices of the tourism sector in Croatia. That's over a 4-year period. Why is this happening, first of all?
Good day to you, good day to your television in studio, and good day to all our and your Turkish friends. The tourism in Croatia is, like you say, is in the last 4-5 years excluding normally the position of when was the COVID, is increased 77%. The reason is, first of all, the whole 10 years, not only 4 years, we are continuing growing with the tourism, with the number of guests, but also with the income, which is very important. Investment is one of the key why the tourism is growing in the sector, accommodation capacity, but also additional offer such as parks, gastronomic offer, and touristic offers, and etc. etc. Active marketing promotion is one of the key also of the Croatian National Tourist Board, Ministry of Tourism, but also the private sector, hotels, agency, destination. Then sports societies, what is very important, and also tourism in Croatia is focused on quality, experience, and sustainability. This is in a short, the key why we have this.
Interesting, because you say there was exponential growth for 10 years. It's not just happened, but I also want to ask, I mean, Croatia just entered the Eurozone. How has this affected the tourism sector?
First of all, this is big step for Croatia and for Croatian tourism. For example, we have in this moment we enter in Eurozone, which is Schengen part, but also which is also euro, like a monetary. If we are talking about the easy enter, which is now without any problem in European Union, the guests are coming like in a national way. Then we have talking about the aspect of tourism, is all this entering in Eurozone is positive, very positive, strategically very important. The large number of the guests can now use their home currency in vacation, which is also important because in last year and other years they must change the currency and so on, which was a little bit complicated.
Right. You were hinting at the state of the economy in Croatia, and I would ask you, how do you describe the economy in Croatia right now? We've seen these prices in the tourism sector go up, for instance. Is that a good thing for the country's GDP, for the country's economy overall, or not so much because of rising inflation and wages rising not so much?
First of all, the problem of inflation is the problem of whole Europe, but also in the world, but for whole Europe, and is incurred the last year in all segments of economy, not only in tourism, for several reasons, from the inflation rate, energy prices, food prices. It's a very difficult year for all tourism, but also for all Europe. From the tourism aspect, the problem of rising of price is not a problem itself, but if is followed by the quality, the raise of quality and value for money, then you don't feel and you don't have a problem on the spot. As far as Croatia is concerned, we certainly expect good results, very good result, and whether they will be exactly as we would like, we will have to wait until the end of the year, because then will be the whole season, whole year. We will have the numbers of whole year.
So ultimately, you think this is good for the country's economy and the country's GDP? We are seeing famous hotel chains as well opening up in Croatia. So there must be a link there between investments from abroad, but also the tourism sector. What's your take on the country's economy?
First of all, this is good for economy. In our economy, the GDP, part of the GDP which is in tourism is 20%, which means this is very, very huge. And if we make a mistake or we have a problem with this part, then the whole economy are in a problem. In this moment, it's going good, and we hope that we'll proceed on this way. If we are talking about the chain, hotel chain, famous hotel chain. The key link here is again the market, because the growth and demand for destination is also interesting for the chain, for the business who is coming here. And on one of the positive sides of Croatian tourism is certainly the fact that we have a very diverse offer, not only one part of the offer. And I believe that we can safely say that we have something for everybody.
Just one last question quickly, because we're running out of time. We know really well that the prices are rising in popular spots in Croatia, such as Dubrovnik and Zagreb as well. But are they also rising in other regions as well?
The question of the price is very complicated. It's not similar. It's not easy. Like I say, the price are not increasing too much if we are talking about inflation and everything. Yes, they are increasing in other period, in other parts, but Dubrovnik and some other region who have value for money, they are maybe increasing more.
Boris Gomba, thank you very much for your analysis today. And that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. And we leave you with the pictures from the 29th Sarajevo Film Festival, which commenced in the Bosnian capital over the weekend with a tribute to music and movies in times of war. See you next time.
Today we are celebrating 30 years of war cinema. From idea, from the vision, we created today the biggest, the most influential festival.
When I came here in 1994, I encountered an atrocity the like of which I did not think I would ever see. And I encountered the opposite also.